What's going on, people? I am BDobbins, FTW. And today, I wanted to dissect Battlefield 1, open it up and look at its inside, see what works and what doesn't, what features and innovations other games ought to emulate, and determine which kind of gamer this game is best suited to, and which kind it isn't. This game has included a number of modest, innovative steps forward for the Battlefield franchise, yet taken together they amount to one giant leap for gaming generally, and the FPS genre especially. I'm reminded of one of those 3D motion simulator rides, like Star Tours at Disneyland, right? I remember going on a Jurassic Park one at Pier 39 in San Francisco, and even when I knew it was totally fake, when that pterodactyl stuck its beak out of the screen to nip at my legs, I instinctively recoiled and jerked my legs back and let out a little shout, because consciously I knew it was bullshit, but the ride was so well done that it had immersed and tricked me on a much more primitive level, and it gets a lot of people that way. That's what makes those rides so fun. It got so intense with the dinosaurs trying to eat me, at one point I had to take off the 3D glasses for a moment of reprieve, because it was just too much. And Battlefield 1 is as close as you can get to that kind of experience without the 3D glasses and motion simulator seats. It's like a Disneyland ride you can get on whenever you want. It is easily the most immersive game I've ever played. The audio, the visuals are just spectacularly done, and you really do feel like you're in a Steven Spielberg war movie. You know, my girlfriend and her best friend, who are both gamers, they played this game. It was their first Battlefield game, and they both agreed the authenticity was like giving them anxiety and making their heart beat faster and shit. And they actually felt kind of scared in a good way, right? And I kind of agree to a lesser extent, because I've played a lot of other Battlefields, so I'm a bit more used to it, but it's brutal, and the way it stimulates the senses like that and elicits genuine emotional and physical reactions is unrivaled by any game I can think of. And that's one of the main reasons we all go to movies and read books and visit theme parks. We want to feel something. We want to fucking stimulate our senses. Battlefield brings that shit home. And it's not just the improved graphics and the war tapes audio, it's the actual gameplay that feels much more authentic than the past few Battlefields, in the sense that the decisions I'm making in-game feel like they're the same decisions I would be making if I were in that situation in real life 100 years ago. I mean, in real life I would probably just like try to kill one or two people and then be like, alright, I did my fair share, and then I'd hide in a fucking ditch and play dead till it was all over. But you know, if I was a really courageous fucking badass soldier guy. That authenticity stems from DICE making the right decision when they significantly nerfed 3D spotting and completely removed the appearing on the minimap when you shoot. In past Battlefields, at all times, you basically had like 60 to 90% of the enemy team spotted on the minimap, because anyone could do it at any time from any distance, and it was like a Blackbird, right? You knew where they were and what direction they were facing in real time, and vice versa. They had you spotted on their shit, and it made the combat kind of this big game of chicken. You know, half the time you're not even looking at the screen, you're just staring at the minimap and seeing if the orange triangles look in your direction as you blindly sprint up the flank. You know, who's gonna come around this corner first, you or me? We both know one of us has to do it eventually. And ultimately, it removed the need to rely on what I would consider more authentic combat tactics. You know, checking corners, clearing houses, having your squad cover you while you cross a street, and if someone starts shooting at you, they lay down legit suppression fire. You know, that shit was kind of in the last few Battlefields, but not really. But it's a big part of this game. When you don't know where everyone is all the time, there's this extra layer of fear there that makes the game much more exciting and immersive. You have to actually rely on your senses and critical thinking abilities to determine where bad guys are and how best to deal with them, as opposed to just staring at the minimap and sprinting up when you see that the orange arrow is looking the other way. You know what I mean? And this game really capitalizes on that authenticity and potent immersion with the Operations game mode, which is by itself a really neat game mode. It's basically 32v32 rush, except instead of planting 2 bombs, you have to capture 2 or 3 flags, which the enemy can recapture until you hold them all at once. And it makes for some very interesting battles and opens up a whole new layer of strategy and counter strategy that each team can rely on. And what I love about this game mode is that it does a little bit of justice to how barbaric World War I was. Now, that's not to say, obviously, that I'm some sort of expert on what combat is actually like in World War I, but I do like to think I'm pretty read up on the subject, and there are plenty of situations across every game mode, but especially in Operations, where your team has to push up, and the enemy team has a trench, and bunkers with little slits, and mounted turrets, and snipers, and mortars, and barbed wire, and poison gas. And they don't nerf the reality of it so that your team is able to fight back in that scenario. They don't try and sugarcoat shit so that the combat is balanced between both teams in those scenarios. You have to all just charge forward into that shit with the understanding that the enemy probably won't be able to kill you all. And that was the actual bitter reality for most people in most battles during that war. And sometimes while you're playing, you can't help but think, man, how fucked up would it be if this was my real and only life that I was risking here? How fucked up is it that some shit like this actually went down? It's a history lesson, and it's not about reciting dates and locations. This game gets it across in a way that movies and books can't, just how helpless you feel when you're in that position. It's artistic and pays homage to the poor souls who actually fought in that shit in a way that only a game can. But along with that authenticity, comes authentically slow moments. It's important that any prospective Battlefield buyer understands that this game does not have a high time to gratification ratio. Games like Call of Duty, Titanfall, Halo, you are always in the thick of the action. You are always fighting and either killing or getting killed. And that's kind of the benefit to arena-based shooters generally. Right now, my kills per minute in this game is about 1.3 something, alright? So I'm only getting 4 kills every 3 minutes, and I don't want to sound cocky when I say this, but the truth is most people are not going to come anywhere close to that. The average player won't be breaking 1 kill per minute. In a 30-minute match of Battlefield, most people don't break 30 kills. Far from it. Which is different from a game like COD or Titanfall, where in a 10-minute match, everyone usually breaks at least 10 kills. Usually a lot more than that. And then like games like Titanfall, for instance, even if you're too stupid to kill real people, they spam a bunch of AIs around the map so that you can get that constant gratification one way or another. Not every moment in Battlefield is high-octane, supercharged intensity. When you're capping a flag after the battle's over, traveling in between flags, there's a lot of big-ass stalemates where nobody on either side can really push up or do anything besides duck and cover. There's a lot of situations where you get pinned down behind a rock and you basically have to just wait and hope that your team makes something happen so you can get out of that situation. There are times when you have to run away from a shitty situation and run far. There's times when you fucking run across half the map to defend a flag only to find the guy who was attacking it is now gone and you came all this way for nothing. When you get squad wiped and you have to respawn far, far away from the thick of the action. Have you ever heard that quote about how a soldier's life is 99% boredom and 1% sheer terror? It's kind of like that, except not the same percentages. My point being that the trade-off for the slow moments is the most high-intensity moments available in gaming right now. The best moments in other games, COD, Titanfall, Gears, won't ever be able to offer you the same kind of brutality and excitement as Battlefield when shit really goes down. And if you can get into the immersion and the escapism of the whole thing, the lulls and slow moments are still pretty entertaining. I would compare it to watching soccer. You know, it has lulls, it has long intervals of time where not a whole lot is changing, both teams are trying to find some weakness to exploit in the other. But all that anticipation builds, and when someone does finally score, it's huge! But still, a lot of people, myself included really, you know, don't get into watching soccer because we just don't have the attention span unless we're really high. We prefer football because it has a super high gratification ratio, right? Something big can happen at any moment, always, and big stuff is always happening. First downs, big ass hits, interceptions, fumbles, field goals, big passes, great punts, and sick ass punt returns. There's always some big moment going on, constantly sating our thirst for drama and excitement. You just have to be realistic about what kind of person you are. Another great analogy I'd use, the difference between Battlefield and higher gratification games like COD is the difference between my videos and Vines. Both are super fun to the right people. Rest in peace, Vines, the most effective time waster mankind will ever know. So, you know, try and figure out if you're someone who can appreciate that kind of game. It's not the potent spike of ecstasy you get eating Cocoa Puffs. It's the toast with peanut butter kind of game that gives you that long-term gratification of having a full stomach because you ate something with nutritional value. And don't get me wrong, there are Cocoa Puff days and there are peanut butter toast days. Depends on the mood you're in and what else you got going on in life. Battlefield's probably not the game you want to play if you're just trying to get some matches in before you go to work, right? But when Friday night comes around and you're looking for something to get lost in till 2 a.m., it's the game to have. What you have to understand about Battlefield is how many changing variables there are. For one, the maps are huge. There's more content in a single Battlefield map than most games have in 3 or 4 multiplayer maps. I've always said one flag in Battlefield is about the size of a typical COD map, which is still true. You have a much wider diversity of choke points, flanking routes, power positions, and then those are always changing based on the destruction, right? The battle you get into on C flag when all the buildings are whole and undamaged is going to be completely different from the battle you get into on that same flag when one building is fully collapsed and the other is kind of damaged, and now there's also a crashed blimp in the middle of the fucking flag. And then of course, the other variable constantly changing is how many enemies you're fighting, when and where. You know, getting into a 6v6 on C flag on Amiens is going to be very different from the 16v16 battle you get into on that same flag, and you never know what kind of battle is going to break out where or when. And those fights are all the more diverse and entertaining thanks to the other smart way that they broke from past Battlefields by making the 4 classes actually play distinctly differently from one another. What I mean is, in Battlefield 4 you had the carbines, which were essentially a collection of SMGs and assault rifles that any class could use, and this was so that anyone could comfortably play any class, right? But the result was that it kind of diminished the excitement and diversity of Battlefield 4 gunfighting because everyone was essentially using the same weapon. You know, the weapons might have slight differences in their recoil pattern or clip size, but the end effect was the same. Anyone could spray you down full auto from any distance at any time, and I think it really suppressed the amount of different tactics you could use in gunfights, and worse, it meant that you were often forced to rely on the same generic AR style weapons, because when everyone is able to just spam that all-purpose AR shit, it puts many other weapons, your semi-autos, your LMGs, at a severe disadvantage in many situations. So gun and playstyle diversity were a bit suppressed by that shit, but this time around each class is locked into a specific type of weapon. Assaults are SMGs, medics are semi-auto long range, support is LMGs, scout is snipers, and each weapon has its advantages and disadvantages in various scenarios. It means that the classes actually play differently from one another. There's a lot more variety in the kinds of gunfights and encounters you get to play when compared to past Battlefields, and of course this game's primary competitor, Call of Duty. And of course the final shifting variable is the vehicles, each of which are very unique and very fun to play with. As I've talked about before, playing in the tanks or the planes really feels like playing whole new game modes. There aren't as many of them on the map at one time as there were in Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. I believe the max now is 2 heavy vehicles per team, whereas it used to be common in Battlefield 4 to have, like, you know, 5 or 6 tanks to a team, usually always at least 3 to a team. And that's the other big reason that I think gunfighting has been so much more entertaining in Battlefield 1 compared to its recent predecessors. The oversaturation of heavy vehicles often disrupted or suppressed the actual infantry v infantry gunfighting, because they just come in and shit on everything, and then they're shitting on each other, and then half the infantry is just trying to shit on the tanks too, and they get frustrated when they get gunned down by infantry while they're trying to fight tanks, and it meant that anyone who didn't have some way to defend themselves against tanks had to run and hide, and that meant a lot of players were constantly having to run away from a lot of fights, and you could have a really fun 5v5 gunfight going on over a flag, but then one team's tank shows up, and well, the gunfight's over now because the team without the tank basically just has to run away, you know? So the scarcity of vehicles opens up a lot more opportunities for a lot more cool gunfighting scenarios. The 5v5s, the skirmishes, you know, they have a lot more time to evolve naturally, and you get to really play those out. Whereas they used to be so rudely and consistently interrupted by the heavy vehicles.
Drop the ammunition! Who's your daddy? We have lost objective apples.
Every Battlefield match is kind of like a fucking snowflake, or a human being. Every single one is at least a little bit different from the others. There is a seemingly endless amount of different kinds of scenarios you find yourself in, and it jacks the replay value higher than any other shooter I can think of. And sooner or later, we get tired of every game we play when we've had it long enough. But in most other shooters, Gears, COD, Halo, Titanfall, the only changing variable from match to match is the enemy team's skill level. And that doesn't mean they're bad shooters, not at all. I have very intimate moments with all those games, but they won't ever stay as fresh as long as Battlefield does. It's kind of like if you had to eat one meal every day, what would you get tired of faster, even if it's something you like? You know, like let's say Titanfall 2 comes out and it's dope and it's like the equivalent of a yummy hot dog, okay? Some things change each day you have that meal, ketchup, mustard, white or wheat bun, and you love hot dogs and it's a great meal. But you're still gonna get tired of it a lot faster than the Battlefield burrito, okay? Battlefield is like a burrito. A lot more changes with it each time because there's so many more ingredients, so many more changing variables. One day it's barbacoa, pinto beans and double cheese, the next it's chicken with lettuce and sour cream, the next it's steak with lettuce, corn, and black beans. There are so many changing variables, so many different ingredients. Even if you love the hot dog, or the Gears grilled cheese, or the cod, you're gonna get tired of that stuff a lot faster than the Battlefield burrito. But there is a downside to all those changing variables and complexity. Battlefield is not a game that can be played very casually, and I don't mean casual, you know, with the negative connotation that a lot of people associate with that term. Just in the sense that this game requires your full attention while you play it. You know, there's so much going on, there's so many enemies who can get the drop on you from any direction at any time. You have to be watching the screen closely, there's all kinds of rubble and bushes and shit that everyone is always trying to head glitch or hide in, and that's what you're supposed to do. That's what gunfighting in this game comes down to. And if you're not analyzing the scene in front of you at all times, you're not going to notice when some guy pokes just the tip of his head over a trench, a window, a body, a pile of dirt, and he's going to shoot you in the fucking head, and it's going to frustrate you if you're not zeroed in on what's going on in the game. You got to be constantly alert and paying attention to your surroundings. I know there are a lot of people, myself included sometimes, who play games almost as like background noise. You know, you get home from a long day of whatever, you're watching TV at the same time and hanging out with your girlfriend or your roommate, you're eating food, listening to music, In that situation, you're just gonna get shit on repeatedly, okay? In that kind of situation, you wanna play a game with, you know, simple maps where it's easy to see people. You know, things like COD, Titanfall, Overwatch is another good one that also is a lot more fun than the other games that I'm talking about. But yeah, you don't wanna play this game unless you can give it your full attention, okay? You don't wanna kinda half-ass play it. It's something that you have to be, you know, turn off the lights, headset on, nothing else going on in the room around you, just zeroed in on the screen, okay? Now, along with that, some other downsides to this game is that there's not a lot of very neat customization. I've never really cared about the aesthetics, but I know a lot of people do. There's not a whole lot of, you know, camos and skins and shit like that. One other thing I'm also kind of bummed about is the lack of any really fun co-op vehicles, like Battlefield 4, for instance. You know, the tanks, the Amtrak, the attack heli. The secondary gunner seat in those vehicles was, first of all, super critical for the vehicle's overall success in battle, and also a very powerful seat that was often as fun to be in as the primary seat. And when you're in it, you're coordinating intensely with your driver or pilot, and there's a lot of strategy, and it's a very cooperative experience, but they don't really have that in this game. The closest they come is probably the front gun on the bomber, which you can use almost like an AC-130 if you have a really good pilot. 90% of you probably won't. For the most part, the side guns on the land ship and the heavy tank, you know, the backseat gunner on the planes, they don't get a lot of action. They all have very limited field of vision, and they are all pretty limited in usefulness, right? If a plane's not chasing you, then the backseat gunner is just sitting there because you can't possibly use that thing for anything else. That shit gets old quick. If there aren't enemies in your 45-degree field of view in the side seat of a tank, then you're just sitting there. And most of the time, you're probably more useful just getting out and fighting on foot. And the result is that nobody ever stays in the secondary seats longer than they have to. And so I'm going to miss some of the epic cooperative vehicle gameplay that I was so fond of in the Battlefield 3 and 4 Abrams and attack helis and stuff. There's also some issues with gun balance right now, but this could be tweaked in the future, and they kind of did this on purpose. As it stands, the last weapon you unlock when you hit max rank for a class is usually objectively better than all the other weapons in every single way, and so the concern would be that sooner or later, everyone is using one of 4 weapons. So they'll have to do something about that. Oh, and also, the campaign's short, but I don't really give a shit about campaigns in Battlefield, and neither should you. All in all, the pros far outweigh the cons for me on this game. I've had a lot of fun with it, but I knew I would because I love Battlefield. I have like 1,000 hours on Battlefield 4, and, you know, for the right person, this game is the game. It's the fucking shit. It's game of the year. It's what you're gonna be playing, you know, every day. It's like a playground where you go to hang out with your friends. You know, it's like Skyrim, first-person shooter, badass, fucking immersion, killing, fucking, and smoking. But you gotta know what kind of person you are, okay? Because for the wrong person, it's just gonna be a really difficult, confusing slog. And the trick is knowing what kind of person you are and whether the game is right for you. Hopefully this video was able to help you determine all that. The For the Win query of the day is, for those of you who have played it, did you enjoy Battlefield 1, and why or why not? This is Batman signing out.
Untitled.